"You're too embarrassing for my influencer friends," my sister told me, so I cut the power to her party and had her arrested for the fraud. She bragged about online. "Hey, I'm a 30-year-old guy who's always been the responsible one in my family. I've been working as a construction foreman for about 10 years now. The money's pretty good, but my back's definitely feeling the strain from all those years of heavy lifting. I started out at 22 as just a basic worker, hustling my way up the ladder. I showed up every single day, even when I was sick or hurt, and after 3 years, my boss noticed and gave me a promotion. Now, I'm in charge of a crew working on commercial projects like strip malls and office makeovers. My parents, Diane and Ron, they're 58 and 60, have always been really bad with money. It wasn't always like that, though. When I was a kid, Dad worked at a paper mill, and Mom had a part-time gig at a dentist's office. We weren't rolling in dough, but we had enough to get by. But then the mill shut down when I was in high school, and things started going downhill. Dad bounced around from job to job, never really finding anything stable. Mom picked up full-time work, but by then they were too used to a lifestyle they couldn't afford. Credit cards became their go-to for just about everything. New TV, vacations we couldn't afford, car repairs, you name it. By the time I finished high school, they were up to their eyeballs in debt, but pretended like everything was cool. College was out of the question with their finances so messed up, so I jumped straight into construction, living at home to help with the bills. Then there's my younger sister, Lena, who's 27 and even worse off. She likes to call herself an aspiring content creator, but really, she's just another girl posting heavily filtered selfies and unboxing videos to her small crowd of 1,200 followers. Last year, she dropped $900 on some fancy ring light setup, convinced she's the next Kylie Jenner or something. Never mind that she spent 5 years studying communications at a public college because she kept flip-flopping her major, and now her degree is just gathering dust somewhere. After college, she worked at a marketing agency for about 8 months until she quit because they didn't get her vision. Since then, she's been bouncing between part-time retail jobs whenever they need her, living rent-free at our parents' place, eating their food, and adding to their bills while she builds her brand. Lena also tried launching some hilarious online clothing line that flopped big time after she blew $15,000 of our parents' retirement savings. She was comparing high-end fashion to trash bags with sequins attached. The funniest part? She was posting all these cringy boss babe entrepreneur updates while the business was going under. Rise and grind and all that. She couldn't even manage to ship the right sizes to customers. You get the picture, LOL? She had the gall to gift me a shout-out on her Instagram for Christmas last year, literally a card with a picture of her profile saying, "Congrats, you've won a featured post on Lena Styles." All this while, I had dropped $350 to get her the Apple Watch she'd been hinting at forever. I even tried to help her business by building shelves, setting up spreadsheets, and offering to handle shipments with my logistics know-how. She snubbed my help, saying my corporate methods stifled her creativity. 2 months later, she was drowning in complaints about wrong orders and late deliveries. When the bad reviews rolled in, she called me up crying about internet bullies and expected me to smooth things over because I'm good with tough people. I straight up refused, and she didn't talk to me for a month, which honestly was the most peaceful month of my life. My parents eat it all up too. Dad bought her a MacBook Pro, supposedly for editing, but she mostly uses it to binge Netflix. Mom acts like every failure is some badge of honor. Lena's just exploring her passions. Nah, she's exploring your wallet. Whenever I suggest Lena get a real job, suddenly I'm the bad guy. You just don't understand the creator economy, Sam. Yeah, sure, I guess actually creating something of value doesn't count. What do I know, right? The worst was when Lena crashed her car while texting, and Mom called me instead of the insurance company. "Lena's too distraught to handle this right now," she said, like that made everything okay. When I asked about their insurance, turns out they'd downgraded to liability only without telling me, even though I'd covered their comprehensive policy just 6 months earlier. Lena's Instagram showed the cash went to her business retreat in Miami, which was just a vacation. Since Lena's boutique fiasco, I've basically been their financial safety net, covering their mortgage, $1,200 a month, whenever they were short, which is like every other month. Their house isn't even all that, just a 3-bedroom ranch in a so-so aging suburb. They could have paid it off by now if they'd stuck to the original 30-year mortgage, but with all the refinancing, they're still 15 years in with 25 left to go. Last year alone, I spent $3,800 on Lena's car repairs because she couldn't swing it. Yet somehow she made it to Coachella that month. She ignored basic upkeep until everything went wrong. Brakes were toast. Timing belt was close to snapping, and the tires were bald. My Uncle Joe, who's a mechanic, was like, "Does she have a death wish?" Meanwhile, her Instagram was all boat pics and some dude with industry connections, whatever that means. I even covered Dad's $5,200 medical bills after he refused to go for cheaper insurance because he liked the hospital food on his plan better. He's got health issues he could manage with meds and the occasional salad, but any time I buy groceries, the veggies just rot away while the junk disappears. Then he has the nerve to call me out of breath after climbing the stairs to whine about his doctor telling him to lose weight and exercise. Mom isn't any better with health stuff. She was prescribed generic blood pressure meds, but insisted on the name brand ones, which were $180 more a month, because she read somewhere online that generics are made in China. I tried explaining that the meds are the same but cheaper, and she accused me of wanting her dead just to save a few bucks. Then she asked me to drive her to 3 different pharmacies to find the brand she wanted. Once I was late sending money for their power bill because I was in the hospital after a work accident. A beam fell on my shoulder, tearing my rotator cuff. The surgeon said I was lucky it wasn't worse. Mom called me 4 times asking where the money was, not even checking in to see how I was doing. "We need that transfer today, Sam," she said. I was doped up on painkillers, trying to figure out how to transfer money with one arm in a sling. The next day, she showed up at my place without any concern for my condition, just focused on getting that cash. So, there I was in the hospital, not being visited with flowers or comforting words, but my mom came in with the water bill and property tax bill. She just plopped them down right next to my lunch tray, next to my sad little Jell-O cup, and started figuring out how much money I'd need to move once my workers' comp payout came in. Then she started ranting about how much the hospital parking cost and hinted that I should cover that too. Over 3 years, I've poured about $42,000 into their lives. No kidding, I actually went through my bank statements one gloomy Sunday night and added everything up. We're talking mortgage help, car payments, medical bills, old debts, groceries, utilities, everything. Meanwhile, I'm cramped up in a janky 1-bedroom apartment where the pipes sound like there's a poltergeist every time you flush. But hey, family, right? At least that's what I kept telling myself as my savings took a nosedive. My place isn't cheap. Shelling out $1,350 each month for a cramped 680 square feet box in a building that was probably top-notch when Reagan was president. It's close to work sites, so that's handy, but the perks are a joke. The gym is just a rusty treadmill and a couple of dumbbells crammed into what used to be a storage closet. The pool's closed more often than not because of filter problems, but it's all I can swing while supporting 2 households. My buddy Chris kept saying I was getting taken for a ride, but I'd just brush it off with, they'd do the same for me, even though deep down I knew they wouldn't lend me $50 if I needed it. Chris has seen the whole mess unfold, and even staged an intervention with spreadsheets showing how I could have bought a house by now. I got mad, gave him the cold shoulder for 2 weeks, then realized he was just trying to help and said sorry. Chris's warning hit home last Thanksgiving. I came down with a fever hitting 103 degrees, felt like death. I called my mom to say I couldn't make it to dinner, and she's like, "But who's going to carve the turkey? Your dad's wrist is sore from golf." Not a peep about how I was doing. I ended up going and, of course, got everyone sick. Dad got ill a few days later and had the nerve to say I'd ruined his vacation. Then in June, I got that call that changed everything. It was a scorching Wednesday night, and my flat felt like a sauna because the AC was busted again, and Terry, the maintenance guy, kept saying he'd fix it tomorrow for 2 weeks straight. So I was lying there, half dead from a long day at work, when my mom called. She wanted to let me know Lena was having a big pool party at her place for the 4th. "We're covering everything," she said. By her place, she meant Lena's townhouse, which I was helping fund with $600 a month because she couldn't cover her full rent with her hit-or-miss social media gigs. I figured I'd be getting a call in a few days asking for help with party stuff. But when I asked if I should bring anything, Mom laughed awkwardly and said Lena didn't want me there. Apparently she didn't want her influencer pals seeing her less successful fam. No offense. I was stunned. After everything I'd done, I hung up, fired up my banking app, and saw I'd sent them $9,800 in just 4 months. Plus, I just put down $1,500 for a family lake house rental for the week after the 4th because Mom had been bugging me for ages about wanting a family getaway. But then I saw that Instagram post from Lena, lounging on some dude's boat with a caption about Self-Care Sunday and treating herself, while I was back home eating ramen for the 3rd time that week because I'd covered the property tax bill. I canceled the rental and felt this anger I'd been pushing down for years finally bubble to the surface. All those missed hangouts with friends because I couldn't afford it. The vacation days I sold back for quick cash that went straight to their bills. And the dates that went south because I was always stressed or interrupted by calls from home. I think back to this one time I was out with Rachel, a super cool architect I met at work. Lena called 5 times in a row when our lunch came, and when I finally picked up thinking it was an emergency, turns out she just needed my Apple password to unlock her account in the middle of an Instagram Live. Rachel never called me back after that. The next morning, I decided enough was enough and called my cousin Jake, who works for the electricity company. "Yo, need a favor." "Hey, can you do me a favor?" I asked as soon as Jake picked up the phone. "What's going on, man? You sound really upset." Jake and I used to be super close when we were kids, but then my family's financial mess kind of pulled me away from everyone. Jake, on the other hand, nailed it in life. He got this solid union job right out of high school, bought a cozy house with his wife, Tara, and they've got 2 kids and a dog. Living that typical stable life I should have had if my family wasn't always draining my wallet. So I laid it all out for him. Years of bailing my family out, thousands gone from my account, and now, the cherry on top, I get uninvited from UGG, or family's 4th of July bash, because, apparently, I might mess with my sister Lena's influencer status. "Man, that's seriously messed up," Jake said. "Your sister's always been greedy, but your folks should really know better." I had a plan, though. Jake works in scheduling at the local energy company, and with the summer heat, they're already prepping for potential blackouts cause of all the AC usage. All Jake had to do was schedule a maintenance outage for my parents' neighborhood during prime 4th of July hours. Jake laughed when I told him, "That's wild. I'm in, as long as you don't think I'll get in trouble," I said, suddenly nervous about bringing him into my family drama. "Nah, dude, these outages happen all the time in summer. I'll just shift a few things around. Totally normal paperwork. No one will even notice." I also called up my buddy Luis, who works in HVAC. His company handles maintenance for Lena's townhouse complex. "You sure about this?" he asked after I spilled the beans. "Just text me when you want it done." Luis agreed to push back the repair order on Lena's air conditioner, which had been struggling already. Nothing risky, just making sure it wouldn't be fixed before the party and definitely break in the heat. He just had to shuffle her repair ticket too after the holiday weekend, which was standard given the flood of emergency calls they get during heat waves. In the days leading up, I played it cool. Dad asked for $200 for party supplies, and I sent it with zero comment. Mom emailed me about borrowing my coolers for the party, and I dropped them off with a smile. Lena didn't reach out, except to ask me to hype up her party posts. What a nerve. I also started working on my personal freedom plan. I called my bank to take my parents off as authorized users from my backup credit card, which I'd originally set up for emergencies but had turned into their personal shopping card. I changed all my passwords and PINs, even got Lena off my family cell plan, where I'd been paying for her unlimited data for years. The customer service rep asked if I wanted to notify the removed line. "Definitely not," I replied. Let her find out the hard way. Jake swung by the day before the 4th with a drink in hand. "All set for tomorrow?" He grinned. "Man, this heat wave's supposed to be brutal, hitting 97 degrees. "Yep, perfect timing," I said. On July 4th, my social media feeds were all about Lena's pool party prep. Mom's arranging food platters, Dad's rocking a goofy grill apron and setting up patio furniture that, let's be real, I probably paid for. Lena's posing with her friends by the pool in her new swimsuit, showing off the family vibes and positivity. The food setup included pricey steaks, fancy charcuterie boards, and what looked like gourmet desserts. Decorations were on point, with balloon arches, custom banners, and a photo booth stocked with props, all for Lena's little influencer networking gig. I even spotted the pool floats from my Amazon account, which had been mistakenly delivered to my place last week before I forwarded them to Lena. She'd ordered $300 worth of inflatables without a word. She even posted a story with some wannabe influencer boasting, "So blessed to have Lifestyle by Jenna at my exclusive pool gathering." Networking, #blessed, she wrote on Instagram. Meanwhile, I chilled at a baseball game with Chris, phone on silent. We snagged the awesome seats near the third baseline. I bought myself a jersey, splurged on an overpriced drink and nachos, and even had dessert. "So are you really going to go through with this?" Chris asked. "Yep," I said. "Tonight's the night I stop being their safety net." "About time," he said. "What are you going to do with all that extra cash you won't be shelling out anymore?" I hadn't thought that far ahead. Maybe I'll save up for my own place, or finally take a proper vacation, or even start dating again without bailing early to handle a call from Mom about the water bill. "Here's to financial freedom," Chris toasted. When we got home at 11:45, my phone blew up. Calls from Mom. "Sam, the power just went out in the whole block. Call us back." "Dad, son, we need help. It's boiling in here." "Lena, what the hell did you do? The power's out, and all my influencer friends are leaving. My makeup's melting." I scrolled through the messages, delighting in each one. Oh, the satisfaction. Lena complained, "My fridge full of party food is gonna spoil. That's thousands of dollars." Mom, "Sam, please call us back. It's an emergency." Dad, "Neighbors say power won't be back till morning." Then social media blew up. Lena's Insta story read, "Worst night ever. Power outage ruined everything. Universe is testing me." One friend posted, "Thanks for the sweat fest, Lena Stiles. Maybe pay your electricity bill next time. LOL. Another commented, "Some exclusive event. Couldn't even keep the lights on." #fail. The schadenfreude was delicious. I turned off my phone and slept like a baby for the first time in years. No more worrying about tomorrow's family crisis, no frantic math on how much I could send this month, just pure, dreamless sleep. The next day brought more notifications, 47 missed calls, 23 voicemails, and 89 texts. I scrolled through them, grinning. The power went out at Lena's just as the party hit its peak. Jake had made sure they were at the bottom of the list for restoring power, all due to a system glitch. By midnight, it was still sweltering, and everyone had bailed from Lena's sweaty disaster of a house. Her lavish pool party ended with warm drinks, melted ice cream, and a bunch of irritated, sweaty people. But that was just kickoff. The AC had given out at 10 p.m., right before the power cut. Luis confirmed the repair team had scheduling issues. Lena's townhouse turned into a sauna without power and AC. From her increasingly frantic texts, most of her influencer friends bounced within an hour of the blackout. So, there I was, complaining about the heat and the power outage, and then I got this text from Lena that really hit me. She was all like, "I've lost all my credibility because of you. Lifestyle by Jenna unfollowed me, and she was going to feature me in her next big thing." Oh, the drama, right? Honestly, it sucked getting unfollowed by nobody, especially when half my followers were bots anyway. My parents tried to save the day by bringing over some battery-powered candles, but it was way too late. The food was spoiling, and without music, AC, or even a fan, the party was a bust. My mom's texts went from begging to threatening, ending with, "Your dad's blood pressure is sky-high because of this. If anything happens, it's your fault." At around 2 p.m., I heard a knock on the door. Dad was there, looking all red and sweaty, with Mom and Lena behind him. He snapped, "The Pia Dayum? Air's still out, and now we've lost the lake house reservation. What did you do?" I leaned against the doorframe, feeling the nice, cool breeze from my working AC. They looked rough. Clearly nobody slept well. Lena's hair was all frizzy, giving her a zombie vibe, and Mom's makeup was a mess. Dad's shirt was soaked with sweat. "Guess I'm not family enough for your party, but good enough to fix your problems, huh?" I teased. "This isn't funny, Sam," Dad shot back. "It's 95 degrees in that house. Fix it now." I got serious. "You know what's not funny? Being treated like dirt when I've been supporting you financially for years." Lena barged in, fuming. "You did this on purpose. You ruined everything. I had real influencers there. This was my big break." I couldn't help but laugh. "Oh, you mean the girl with 5,000 followers selling knockoff handbags from her mom's basement? Yeah, I'm shaking. Seriously, you're just jealous because I'm actually building something while you're playing dress-up." She shot back. "Building what, Lena? Debt? Illusions? You've never earned an honest dollar." I whipped out my phone and opened my banking app. "Want to see what I've sent you just this past year? $16,400, Lena. Not counting what I've given Mom and Dad. So where's this building something money coming from? Oh, right, my so-called caveman job." Mom jumped in. "Sam, that's enough. How dare you talk to your sister like that after all we've done for you?" That was it for me. "After all you've done for me? Are you kidding me? I've given you $42,000 in 3 years while I live in a dump. And Lena acts like she's living the high life in a house I'm pretty much paying for." Lena rolled her eyes. "Whatever. Can I use your shower? I have a sponsored post due, and I look like crap." I was stunned at her nerve. She got it. Meanwhile, my parents looked at me like I was the problem. I was fed up. "Get out. All of you, get the hell out of my building." Mom was shocked. "What do you mean, get out?" she asked. "Get out!" I yelled so loud the neighbor's door opened. "I'm done being your wallet. Figure it out yourselves." Lena snapped. "You're going to regret this. You're dead to me." I slammed the door, shutting out their noise. The next morning, I called my bank and froze the joint account with my parents, changed my passwords, and removed my card from Lena's Apple account. I went through my auto payments and canceled everything I was funding: the energy bills, Lena's phone, Dad's car insurance. Each cancellation felt like cutting a chain that held me back. I was saving over $1,876 a month. Then, I called the utility company for my parents' and Lena's homes. Surprise, surprise, I was secretly made the guarantor again because of their bad credit. My phone was blowing up with messages. Lena saying, "My Netflix isn't working, fix it." Mom asking about the emergency fund. Dad warning me I'd gone too far. I ignored them all. Instead, I booked a flight to Bali for 3 weeks, leaving on Friday. Finally, doing something I'd always wanted but couldn't afford because I was busy bailing them out. A travel agent helped me snag a sweet deal on a beach house. "First big vacation?" she asked. "First one, I'm only paying for myself," I replied. The whole trip cost me $4,300, way less than what I usually spent on them in a month. By afternoon, the family group chat was blowing up. Mom was like, "Can't believe you'd do this to your own family." Dad chimed in, "After everything we've done." Lena added her bit. Then my cousin Jake rang me up, saying, "Dude, your family is telling everyone you flipped out. Your aunt thinks you had a mental breakdown." Apparently, they were spreading rumors that I went nuts, cut them off, and was being harsh. Lena was posting her sob story about toxic family and how money changes people, while her followers showered her with supportive messages. I laughed and told Jake to send screenshots. Meanwhile, she was posting from a healing retreat at the local Marriott, room service, and all included. Despite being broke, she managed to book a hotel stay. Jake also said my parents had moved in with Lena temporarily, milking their situation for sympathy money. My aunt even sent them $500. I kept quiet. Let them do whatever helps them sleep at night. I'm out. I spent the rest of the week ignoring their calls and prepping for my trip. I bought new clothes, a decent camera, and some hiking gear. All the stuff I couldn't justify buying before, because my money always went to fixing their messes. Then on Wednesday, my neighbor caught me in the parking lot. "Hey man, your family was here earlier, banging on your door for 20 minutes. Hey, are you okay? You looked pretty upset. Sorry about earlier, just some family drama." My dad texted me Thursday night, right before my trip, with this guilt trip saying, "Your mom cries herself to sleep every night, hope you're happy." So for the first time in days, I replied, "Actually, I'm happier than I've been in forever. I'm heading to Bali tomorrow. Leave me alone." My mom shot back almost immediately, saying, "You're going on vacation while we're struggling? How selfish!" So yeah, I blocked them, packed my bags, and treated myself to a nice meal. For once, I wasn't pinching pennies or worrying about their drama. I was finally on vacation. You won't believe the chaos that happened while I was gone. I just got back from Bali, and what I found at home was next-level crazy. I never thought one vacation could spiral into full-blown mayhem just because my family wouldn't let me enjoy it in peace. Buckle up. This is a wild ride. First off, Bali was amazing. 3 weeks of beaches, hiking, and tasty food with no family nonsense. I went completely off the grid on social media so they couldn't stalk me. It was the first time in my adult life that I was totally off their radar. I met some cool people at the resort, including an Aussie couple who were blown away that I hadn't traveled before. There were loads of funny moments, but let's get to the juicy part. When I got home, I switched my phone back on after weeks of silence. As expected, there were hundreds of missed calls, voicemails, texts, and emails. I deleted them all without a second glance. Whatever mess they'd made wasn't my problem anymore. But something felt off when I got to my apartment. The front desk guy gave me this odd look, and said, "Good to see you back. Your family's been causing a scene here almost every day. Just what I needed." Opening my door, I realized something was very wrong. Someone had broken in. Drawers were open, my closet was emptied, and furniture was out of place. Then it hit me. They had a key. I had totally forgotten that years ago, in a moment of guilt, I gave my mom a spare for emergencies. The first thing I noticed missing was my laptop. They'd taken it, but eventually returned it. I knew because all my files had recent activity. My filing cabinet was ransacked, and crucial documents like my Social Security card and birth certificate were missing. But that wasn't the worst of it. I kept $10,500 in a sealed fireproof box for emergencies. It was still there, but empty. The key was buried in my sock drawer, which was a mess. I quickly checked my credit report and found 4 new credit cards opened in my name, 2 maxed out, and a loan application with my info was pending. They'd stolen my identity. Just a month away, and this is what they did. I called the police and reported the theft and identity fraud. Then I called my bank. Thank goodness I'd set up 2-factor authentication before leaving. They'd tried accessing my accounts, but the security checks required codes sent to my phone in Bali. My bank flagged the attempts as suspicious and beefed up security. I spent the next few days in absolute stress, calling credit bureaus, setting up fraud alerts, disputing charges, and documenting everything. I had an identity theft protection plan, and here's the kicker. They found out all the applications came from my parents' IP address and were done on Lena's laptop. They didn't even try to hide it. I guess they never thought I'd push back this much. I reached out to my cousin Jake and spilled everything. He was quiet for a second and said, "They've been telling everyone you bailed on them with no warning. Your mom's been milking the sympathy card on Facebook, claiming they're drowning in medical bills. Let me guess, they didn't mention robbing my apartment or stealing my identity?" "Surprisingly, no," Jake replied, chuckling. "Lena's been gloating to my wife's cousin about getting revenge on you. Something about teaching you a lesson on family loyalty. She's not keeping it low-key in some circles." Great. So I spent the next week securing my place, changed the locks, installed cameras, and gathered up all the evidence of their fraud. Then I got a text from my dad. "We need to talk. Family dinner tomorrow night. Be there, or I'll call your boss about your extended vacation." Oh, moving on to threatening my job now? Perfect. I didn't reply but gave my boss a heads up. He's a great guy, and laughed it off, saying, "Let them try. Your work speaks for itself, but thanks for the warning." Instead of going to their family dinner, I went to the police station with my evidence. The investigator went through my detailed report and said, "This is open and shut. We'll make arrests within 48 hours. She kept her promise. My dad and Lena were arrested the next day. Here's the perk of living in a small town. Nothing stays a secret. Lena's beloved social media blew up when people realized her so-called glamorous life was built on theft and fraud. My parents' friends started distancing themselves as the truth came out. I won't bore you with the courtroom drama, but let's just say their defense was laughable. We were just taking what he owed us for raising him. The judge and jury didn't buy it. My parents got probation and mandatory financial counseling because of their age and clean records. Lena wasn't so lucky. Her previous shoplifting charge and laptop evidence got her 18 months. Her dramatic breakdown in court about her ruined influencer career didn't help. The best part? They have to pay me back everything they took, plus damages for the identity theft. Now they send me a check every month instead of the other way around. How's that for karma? I'm planning to move out as soon as my lease is up, and already looking for a new place in a safe neighborhood where I won't be handing out spare keys.